Get in on the action this season with Underdog's Pick'em game. Select higher or lower between 2 and 8 players and compete for up to 325 times your entry. Use code DIRECTOR when signing up to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash and a free pick. Go to Bolt Fam. It's the Director. Crazy. I'm not even going to say 48 hours anymore, man. Like 72 hours, whatever the hours is for 4 days, man. It has been a ride, a roller coaster. The Chargers, maybe a less than spectacular get off to the tampering period of free agency. Chargers fans kind of going nuts on Twitter right now, man. It has been a red dawn. It has been a trialing time for Chargers fans, you know, for good reason. We got a whole lot of money. We got to be in like the top 3, top 2, maybe even top team at this point. And the Bolts, you would think, are going to make a whole bunch of signings to improve, certainly their offensive line, their defensive line. Running back was one thing I did expect them to sign, maybe more of a J.K. Dobbins. But hey, we got Najee Harris. Definitely not a bad signing. If you guys want proof of that non-biased opinion, I did post about the possibility of signing Najee Harris beforehand. And it's a signing that, you know, I think in the end is going to work out. Maybe not everybody's favorite, but we're going to talk even more about that. It has been especially crazy in my studio, in my household, though. If you guys are wondering, like, where's Director? We want to talk about Najee and all this stuff. Well, my computer exploded. All right? The night before free agency started, my system went down. We're pretty sure my motherboard died. Shout out to my stepdad for coming out here and helping me get this all set up and ready to go so we can go back online here at day 2 of free agency. But we got a whole lot to talk about, man. We got the Bradley Bozeman extension. We got Najee Harris. We got the possibility of other free agents, maybe even trades coming down the pipeline here a little later today. Should be a good time. Before we do kick things off, hit us up with a like and sub if you do enjoy this Chargers content. The small amount of time you guys take to hit the like, sub, bell notification helps me out a lot. Shout out to the sponsor, Underdog. Use code DIRECTOR to receive up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Newcomers, take advantage of the free pick on screen. Lights, camera, action.
Who's got it better than us?
Your Los Angeles Chargers reaction to day 1 of the tampering period of free agency. We're going to keep a tab on, you know, what's going on in day 2 so far. Not much in terms of signings. I know Christian Fulton of the Chargers making his way out. There's a lot of talk about Asante Samuel all of a sudden getting a big contract with another team. But let's first catch up on the events of yesterday. By the way, before we get, can you guys just, what do you think? What do you think of the set so far, huh? I love the backdrop. I think that's always been kind of something that I like. What do you think about this side, you know, over here? Do we keep that, you know, with the nice paneling on the side? Of course, we're going to get stuff hung up here very soon. You know, we got the LT jersey going to be all lit up. I got some nice, you know, platforms coming. It's going to be cool. It's going to be cool. But you guys let me know what you think. Starting with yesterday's events, I think one big thing that we're all kind of forgetting, that we're kind of, you know, pushing to the side, is even though it was one of the biggest things to happen yesterday, was the return of Khalil Mack. I want to make sure that doesn't get lost in the noise of this video, because in retrospect, when you take a look at all the things that the Chargers could have done yesterday, all of the moves that we're hoping that they would make, Khalil Mack was like at the top for me. I think him and the Rashawn Slater extension are like tied 1A, 1B for what I needed the Chargers to accomplish this offseason. We got Khalil Mack back on a 1-year deal, $18 million. Excellent, you know, value for the Bolts. Big time improvement to what was the situation at edge going into this year without Joey Bosa. This just needed to get done. And so for that, before getting into the weeds of this video, make sure we all give ourselves, and I guess Joe Ortiz in this instance, a pat on the back and a congratulations to Khalil Mack for coming back and helping stabilize this year or 2 of Jim Harbaugh on defense. Jesse Minter, very, very big move. We cannot forget that. That being said, let's get into some of the, I guess, elephant in the room moves. Najee Harris, welcome to the Bolts. I'm going to start off by saying welcome to the Bolts, because I promise you guys, the amount of hate that he's getting is not warranted. I'm going to go out and say that right now. Of course, it's probably not the first move that I make. It's probably not the second move that I make. But it's a move that makes a whole lot of sense. And come September, when this dude's running guys over, right, and you pair him up with a rookie, running back, and those guys are working in a great tandem, and Mr. Consistency's out there, softening up the line in the same way we were hoping Gus Edwards to do, but definitely a more consistent, successful basis. I promise you, once we start seeing success of number 22 and powder blue, we're all going to be a fan of you, Najee Harris. And it's an important piece to what is the building block and the identity of what Jim Harbaugh wants. And for good reason, I think that we all need to take a step back, take a breath, and realize what we have in Najee Harris, because no amount of complaining and, would-be, should-be, could-be's are going to take back, this move. It's done. It's good to go. Of course, not officially until tomorrow, but this is happening. So let's take a look at what it actually is and see what we can actually hope for and what it actually could mean for the future. Now, of course, the big thing that I want everybody to realize, because again, let me backtrack a little bit. I think a big reason why a lot of people maybe not super obsessed with the idea of bringing Najee Harris, one, there's a number floating out there, 3.9. You guys know what they say, 3.9 yards per carry average in his career. Not great. It's a scary number. And it scared a lot of people into thinking that this is a bad football player. He's not a bad football player. This is a decent football player. He's not top of the line. He's not a top 5 running back in football, but he's decent. And you know what? I think a lot of us were also scared to the fact that maybe we'd be paying him like a top 5 running back in football, when that in fact was not the case. If you were to take one thing away from this signing that is absolutely stupendous, it's going to be the value. Take a look at the numbers that just came in this morning. I retweeted, said, okay, that's an insane deal. It's a Chargers deal with Najee Harris, 1 year, $5.25 million with another $4 million available in incentives. That's pretty huge, guys. You think about what Aaron Jones was paid and what some other free agent running backs are going to be paid. Najee may be the steal of this year's free agency in terms of running back. He was projected everywhere to be upwards of $9 to $10 million a season. And it was definitely projected to go for more than 1 year, which puts the Chargers in a very unique situation all of a sudden. Hey, we got a guy that works for this year, right? We want this, gap system to work. We want to get in there and run the football physically. There may not be a more consistent running back at executing that than Najee Harris. Say what you want about the guy, but he doesn't miss football games. He has not missed a single game in his career to injury or anything likewise. Despite getting like 1 billion carries per week. Like, that in and itself is pretty impressive, and probably one of the biggest reasons why they moved off Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Consistency carries a lot of weight in this league, and there is maybe no more consistent running back than Najee Harris, which works both ways for him and against him. He's there every week, but you would hope that the yards per carry were a little bit higher. Now that the fact that the Chargers have him on a 1-year deal is also a very, very interesting aspect to this whole thing to me, because again, we were all expecting a 2 to 3 year deal for Najee Harris, but instead he positions himself for a prove-it season where he can go out and produce another 1,000 yards. Because let's be clear, this guy has, in terms of stats, doesn't look too bad on paper. Take a look at every single season he's had in the NFL, 1,200 yards, 1,000. Mr. Consistency out here. But by positioning himself to have maybe a career year at age 27 with the Los Angeles Chargers, he puts himself, again, in a position where maybe he can get one more contract due to the circumstances that he's being given by the Chargers. I think he could do it. It could be with us. I don't know so much about that, but it definitely could be, in the same realm of possibility as J.K. Dobbins, which is still kind of a possibility now to return this year, but looking less likely. But it makes sure that the Chargers don't lock themselves in anywhere. And this is a very important aspect to the whole, free agency is a big picture thing. We heard a lot about Harbaugh and Ortiz using free agency as an opportunity to cover their bases. They want to make sure every single position, every weakness, every hole is filled. Whether it be with a big contract guy or a little contract guy, it feels like more so they're going to be spreading that money as wide as they can. With all maybe these mid-level guys attacking in waves. But that really does put the Chargers in a position to still draft a guy of the future It doesn't box you in, but it also covers your bases. There's going to be a plan for Najee Harris. He's RB1 right now. I expect him to remain RB1 this season. Again, very similar conversation to what we had to Gus Edwards last year. But I also 100% expect this team to draft a rookie running back to pair with Najee Harris, to transition and segue into the league, and to eventually take the torch from Najee Harris here in the next year, maybe two, depending on how long they want to hold on to him. But this move does not stop you from making any other moves. The value that you're getting in this contract is ridiculous. Really, guys, you're thinking about what the Chargers saved and letting go of Gus Edwards. They paid $2 million more and they got Najee Harris. Does it seem so much as a dramatic fumble anymore? Which, by the way, he does not do. Najee Harris does not fumble. He does not miss games. He gets 1 million carries. Mr. Consistency. Does this seem as big as a detrimental move all of a sudden? Like, I don't think so. It may not be the most exciting move, and maybe not even a move that I would have made, but come on, let's get real for a second. Like, there are much worse moves that have happened in recent Chargers history. At least this wasn't a J.C. Jackson pounded the table, top money at the position, that eventually could have and probably should have at that point, you know, hindsight being 2020, blown up in our faces, putting us in a tremendous financial distress. Like, this is very minuscule in terms of risk. If it works out, awesome. We got a Mr. Consistency. He's seeing a career year. He's probably going to have, you know, great opportunities for himself going forward for a contract. If it doesn't work out, we're out $5 million. I don't think there's any world where $5 million is going to make or break your season. So I would say to everybody, don't worry so much. This is a move that the Chargers were going to make. The consistency is there, but more importantly, you know, the relationship is there. For those of you guys that don't know, this is a Jim Harbaugh guy. Jim Harbaugh heavily recruited this cat at Michigan, wanted this dude on the foot, obviously got beat out by Alabama. But this was somebody that I'm sure Jim Harbaugh going into the offseason was like, hey, Joe, I need Najee. I missed out on my chance at Michigan. I need Najee on this team. Like, this dude was obsessed with the idea of coaching Najee Harris back in the day. He gets his second chance now. It's a really good scheme fit. Say what you want about the guy, but the money makes sense. This is maybe the best opportunity for him in terms of free agency, and this is one of the best scheme fits that you're going to find for opportunity for the Chargers to get an upgrade at running back. It all kind of fits like a glove. Very minimal risk. Let's not weigh too much on the Najee Harris pick quite yet. Let's see how it works out. Again, if it doesn't, no sweat off our back. You know what I mean? It'll be fine. Me personally, guys, I'm going to be completely transparent with you. I'm kind of excited at the idea of Najee Harris. I watched him play in person. My first game at SoFi Stadium was 2021, yeah. Chargers, Steelers. Ben Roethlisberger. At the time, who was his backup? Benny Snell, I think, and Najee Harris. You know what I mean? Like, I got to see this guy play, and honestly, I remember thinking at the time, like, dude's a beast. I think he scored on us that game. Scored a touchdown that game. He's a very physical runner. He's going to be blowing up blockers. He's going to be blowing up defenders, I should say. He's going to be running to that physicality and the tune of what you want in a Greg Roman offense, Jim Harbaugh offense. Like, Najee Harris, say what you want, man. I mean, he's a beast, and he has any chance to an opportunity to pop off as any other, you know, player in this league, given his situation. And for those of you worried about the future of running back, don't. Like, again, I'm not going to say first-round running backs off the table. It still could be. If Amarian Hampton is their guy, crazy if Ashton Genty falls to us. Like, if one of those situations presents themselves, a Najee Harris signing is not going to prevent you from doing that. I've always kind of thought that the Chargers maybe go, you know, a bit more value. Now that we have our second-round pick, a lot of us are projecting we don't have that because of DK Metcalf. Well, having a second-round pick puts a lot of running backs back on the table for me as well. Travion Henderson would be a great pairing and a great RB1. Jenkins would be amazing. Some say Scattaboo could climb to that point. I think still third round. I feel very comfortable. And for those of you saying, oh, it's redundant, these guys are big. Well, of course, you're going to want your guy of the future as well. Don't let, again, Najee Harris signing is not going to stop you from signing Cam Scattaboo. Even though, like, they're both physical runners and they have that style, maybe the speed isn't quite there. Like, who cares? Because after this season, if Najee isn't here, you still have Cam Scatterbo to pass the torch to, and you still remain consistent at what you want to be identity-wise at running back. It's not going to stop. I promise you with all my heart, it's not going to stop the Chargers from drafting a running back that they want. Like, if it's their guy, they're going to get him. They're going to pair him with Najee. They're going to have a really good first season in the rookie year and playing that 1-2 punch with Najee, and then they're going to take the torch in a year or two. That's what a one-year deal means. That's what a $5 million cap hit means. That all of this just equates to, all right, we're covering our bases. I'm excited for Najee. I really am. Got to watch him play in person. He's physical. He's nasty. If he can get his yards per carry up, just imagine what the possibilities might be. Not super excited, but I am excited. I'm not going to take that away from myself because it wasn't the move I would have made. All right? Let's move on. Some other moves that maybe Chargers fans are scratching their heads at that in some way, shape, or form has the fandom outraged in some cases, man. I'm seeing a lot of hate for the Bradley Bozeman signing, and I'm not going to pretend I'm not one of those people. I saw the contract this morning, and I was definitely less than pumped. The Chargers deal with Bradley Bozeman is 2 years worth up to $12 million. The money... yeah, it's bothersome, it's annoying, but it's more so what it implicates. Like, is this a starter? I really hope not. Bradley Bozeman, to me, he would make an excellent backup. Someone that you still want in the locker room, somebody that you still want on that line if the case calls for it, if the situation calls for it. But let's just be clear. Like, this was one of the worst centers in football last year. It was a position that all of us going into the offseason knew needed improvement. And the signing of Bradley Bozeman does not instill a lot of confidence in them actually addressing it. If we run it back, if we go back in with Bozeman and Zion and, God forbid, Trey Pipkins, I don't know what chance even a guy like Najee Harris stands at breaking tackles and creating yards and protection for Justin Herbert. All of it is, very worrisome. I'm not the biggest fan of this. Do I think it's the end all, this is it, close the book, we're this is what we're doing? No. But it certainly doesn't enlist a lot of, confidence right now, especially after day one, where all the good, not all, but like a good chunk of the free agents that we're hoping to get are gone. Ryan Kelly is a Vikings took all my favorites. Ryan Kelly's a Viking, and I think, is it Will Fries too? He ended up going to the Vikings as well. Drew Dahlman, the Bears, man. The Bears are stealing our offseason blueprint. Like, honestly, dudes, they got Dahlman, and they got all sorts of O-line help, D-line help. They're looking great in their first year under Ben Johnson. We need some sort of movement. I know Chargers fans are hungry for it. I'm hungry for it. There's still guys out there. We're going to talk about it here in just a second. But we cannot run it back. If the signing was for depth, then I understand. And you know what? We got updated numbers not too long ago. Yeah, this was the initial post in terms of what the deal was worth up to, right? But then I think it was Daniel Popper. Actually, let me go see if Pop was on here. I think he actually posted it not too long ago. I think it was something like $2 million first year, $4 million. Yeah, here we go. So it was cap hits for Bozeman based off numbers, $2 million first year, $4 million the next year. That's kind of what we're looking at. So in reality, the way the contract is structured, we're not really giving up all that much. You can almost cut that contract in half. Like, you can think of it more as like $3 million a year, $3.25 million a year. Nothing too crazy. Okay, so that being said, money-wise, everything has made a lot of sense so far. Bozeman being a backup, I guess that's fine with me, but we have to go in and find an answer. And just like I stated with Najee Harris, this doesn't stop you from drafting, a Tate Ratledge or a Jared Wilson or signing another guy, like Myers from the Packers. Like, go do that. And then treat Bozeman as a backup. I'm feeling a whole lot better. Everyone's feeling a whole lot better. All right? I think another big thing that's bothering Chargers fans is the fact that we are losing free agents for money that we'd be willing to spend and opening up more holes for ourselves that are going to have to be addressed via the draft, right? I think a lot of us all of a sudden, after Poona Ford's departure, are thinking, okay, so Kenneth Grant, anybody? Round 1? JJ Pegues, round 3, round 4. Like, we got to get a guy all of a sudden. Like, that's a big vacancy for the Chargers. And then you go around and you see how much he made. You think maybe we should have paid that. We have the money. Where's all the money going? It is frustrating. It is frustrating. But let me remind you guys, and again, I'm not quite certain how this all works. The Chargers are very new players in this arena, but the compensatory pick formula is kind of at play here as well. I don't know if the Chargers get anything for Poona Ford, and I'm not quite sure how everything works, but I would assume so. I would assume that Christian Fulton going to the Chiefs this morning is going to kick us back something. Is it a 7th rounder? Cool, whatever. But then you got a story that's developing in Asante Samuel. Man, you guys hear about that? Bidding war. Asante Samuel may be heading to, was it the Bills that we heard about? The Buffalo Bills? There was a few other teams that were involved. Asante Samuel may get paid big, man, like a top 10 at the position. And that would be very good. I think that puts us in play for like a 3rd or 4th round pick, compensatory pick next season. So with every player that we lose, especially the ones that I feel like we could have paid, as much as I'm bothered by it, it's kind of a part of what we signed up for with Joe Ortiz. That formula very important. And who knows, maybe we find the next Poona Ford. You guys remember Poona Ford coming into this team last year in his situation? It's very much so prove it. This wasn't Poona Ford that we know right now. This was a different Poona Ford last year. It was a Poona Ford that really wasn't turning any heads. I think he signed a very small deal, like within $2 million. And he goes out there and he proves it with the Chargers, earns big bucks the next season. And who knows what we do now? We're going to turn around and maybe sign the next guy to a cheap deal and turn them into the next Poona Ford. Yeah, maybe this is not what everybody wants. The director isn't a flavor that everybody can get behind all of a sudden, especially when they're having a tough day. You know what I mean? But in retrospect, like just really looking at it through the lens of like situation and perspective, it feels like this all ain't as bad as we made it up in our minds to be. That something behind the scenes makes a lot of sense to these moves. And there could be a big move in play, a trade or whatever on top of that could be making sense of all this. But there it is. And we did actually get one of our defensive tackles back in Tierra Tart. Hey, there's some good news. This could actually be the Poona Ford this year. Think about that. Tierra Tart in rotation, actually not too bad. Maybe steps into the role of, the main guy and he produces. And the Chargers got him for a steal, making, I think it's under $5 million, somewhere around there, under $6 million, something like that. Good money in terms of a deal for the Chargers. Having all the money in the world is not going to stop us from getting bargains. And Tierra Tart, I really do think is an awesome signing for this team. We'll see how he performs this year. And I have a lot of confidence that he'll be that guy that he was this year at bare minimum. And maybe we pair him up with a guy in the draft. Maybe we pair him up with another free agent that performs in the same line as Poona Ford. But that's a good signing. Another good signing that the Chargers made, which, I'm going to say it wasn't the most exciting signing, but I mean, it's solid. And again, it really does reflect back to what the Chargers did last year. Was Dante Jackson, formerly of the Panthers, right? And then to the Steelers. This is a guy that plenty of people were high on, last offseason before. And he had a pretty decent year last year, if I do remember. I'll take a look here. So Carolina, Pittsburgh, interceptions. Here we go. 5 interceptions last year's not bad. I mean, he's good for a handful of them every year. 4, 3, 3, 2, 2, 5 last season. Yeah, cool. Sign me up. Not too terrible. And it reminds everybody an awful lot of a situation we saw in a young man named Christian Fulton last year, does it not? Like, everyone's like, whatever. Well, cool. And then he goes out there and has a pretty decent season for the most part. I think we're going to see something very similar with Chris or with Dante Jackson for sure. You're going to get some crazy speed out of him, some nice slot play, or I should say outside play. Like he's definitely a guy that, doesn't enlist a whole lot of yippee, but it's the same situation as last year. And now, I know better. I'm old enough to remember what doubting a Jesse Minter defense does to you last season. All right. Finally, to wrap up this video, man, we need to talk a little bit about some of the guys I think the Chargers need to go after. Now, here is PFF's best remaining free agents available. Of course, some of these guys are going to be off the list. This list made this morning, just as we're making this video. Who is it that got signed right here? Saints and Juwan Johnson. Unfortunately, one of the top tight ends off the board now. So if we see his name, we got to ignore it. But some of the names I would say to definitely follow here in day 2, and I would say the first week of free agency, the top 2 are certainly in play for the Chargers, Cooper and Diggs. I would be very content with either one of these guys. Some people maybe not super excited about it. Again, it's not an exciting signing, but you're pairing them up with our, wide receiver 1 already. This puts a lot of confidence and faith that, Ladd McConkey is wide receiver 1. We need to help him get open. We need to help him, develop big plays. You can do that with Amari Cooper. You can do that with Stephon Diggs. Get these technical route runners in here or tactical route runners in here and see what happens to Ladd McConkey. I promise you, the opportunity is going to look a lot better. But one of these 2 guys, I think, would be an excellent signing. I also wouldn't be, upset if we got Keenan Allen back. Let's bring Keenan Allen back, man. It's the same flavor of wide receiver that you're looking for here, except you get the benefit of super familiarity with Justin Herbert. So yeah, man, Keenan Allen, and one of those wide receivers. I think you get one of these guys, you're looking pretty good going into the draft. Maybe you get another guy in terms of depth like Mecole Hardman to challenge like a, Quentin Johnston. But those are 2 guys to keep an eye on. Tevin Jenkins kind of feels like a Chargers story, right? He had an injury, came back, had a good year. He's a run mauler. Maybe some issues in terms of effort or whatever that I was hearing about, very much similar to Tier Tart, who we signed last year. That could be a Chargers guy who doesn't want to play offensive line for Jim Harbaugh. This would be a massive signing if this works out of the chart, because it comes with its risk, right? It comes with its risk. But if it works out, like, man, you guys, Najee's going to be just fine. Like running behind Tevin Jenkins. And Jenkins on the right side, right? So that would be him and all, like, okay. Yeah, the possibility of improving the run game looks really good all of a sudden there. Kevin Zeitler, same flavor, right? This is another guy where I'm like, hey, dude, if the Tevin Jenkins thing doesn't work out, because Jenkins is quite a bit younger, right? You get an older guy for 1 year, Kevin Zeitler, who had one of the craziest seasons you're going to find on paper in the NFL last year in terms of guard and run blocking. Yeah, sign me up for 1 year of him. I know he's like, 34, 35? I don't care. After the year he had with the Lions last season, yeah, give me him instead of Trey Pipkins this year at guard, and watch Najee Harris improve his odds at being a difference maker at running back this year. Love that. DeAndre Hopkins, I should have mentioned his name as well. So if I were to rank who I want at wide receiver, if I'm being honest, in this specific circumstance for the Chargers, I kind of want Keenan Allen the most. Then I would go, yes, Cooper, Diggs, and then DeAndre Hopkins. I think in that order would make a lot of sense. Okay? Juwan Johnson, another name to keep an eye on, if he wasn't already signed, which puts me to, I don't know if he's anywhere on this list, very much so interested in Evan Ingram. Chargers should probably try and grab him or another tight end to improve their tight end position before going into the draft, because who knows what happens, man. It's a good tight end draft if you're able to hit on one of the first 5 or 6 guys. Outside of that, I'm not quite sure what you're doing. You know what I mean? So maybe the Chargers are very confident they're going to get one of those guys. Maybe they said, hey, between rounds 1 and 3, obviously one's going to, we're going to find one and we're going to be feeling good about it. And there was one more guy that I was kind of keeping my eye on here too. It might have been an edge player. Ojulari's interesting. Darius Smith was just released. Von Miller might be a cool, veteran option for one season if they wanted to go that way. Brandon Scherf, another good guard to kind of take a look at. But the reason I'm scrolling down here, and there's Evan Ingram all the way down here, I would say that is one that I would definitely prioritize. If you can get Evan Ingram on this team, I would feel a lot better about going into the draft. And again, this doesn't stop me from drafting Colson Loveland. This doesn't stop me from drafting, a Fannin or Arroyo or any of those guys. Like this is strictly a cover your bases signing, which we definitely need at this point. Okay, but I'm going to keep scrolling down here a little bit more because you know what? I think the Chargers, this is kind of where you're going to get known for Ortiz moves and Jesse Minter moves and even Jim Harbaugh moves. Like you're going to find a guy that we signed that we're like, hey, not super exciting. Devin Bush, for instance, he was with the Michigan, right? You're like, okay, whatever. But then you put him on the Chargers and he just pops off all of a sudden. So what the hell? That's just the kind of way this team has turned out to be. Like veterans are flocking to this team because we're the second chance Chargers, the last chance Chargers. Like you are going to take players that, for lack of a better term, have seen their best days behind them or maybe didn't live up to high round draft capital potential, and they're going to find it here. Coleman Shelton, Dalton Reisner. I don't know, man. Cole Hardman, maybe cool with Justin Herbert. Let's scroll down a little bit more. There was one guy, Josh Myers. This is one where I'm like, this feels kind of like a Chargers signing. You put him with, Bradley Bozeman. I'm feeling a little bit better about the situation all of a sudden. Tyler Boyd. These are the kind of guys to keep an eye out for. And I'm going to say, bottom third. Maybe even like bottom half. We'll say bottom half of this list are players that I guarantee you the Chargers are going to pick from. We're going to get one or two guys from this bottom half of the list. We're going to say to ourselves, and then they're going to go ahead and overperform in the season just because that's the kind of team we have all of a sudden. And these are the kind of moves this team is going to be making all of a sudden. Just get ready, Bolt fam. It's going to be interesting. This is my plan going into day 2. Obviously, it's already started to fall apart. Will Fries went to the Vikings. But you can still look at guys like Amari Cooper. You can kind of see him behind me there on the right side. That's looking like a lot better wide receiver. I'm not the best, but okay. I threw a rookie in there in Caden Prather as well. But you got to make some movement there. Elijah Arroyo all of a sudden looks really good in like the second or third round, right? I think I ended up taking him in the second round here and then Ratledge in the third round in that mock draft. But that interior offensive line, if you take a look at everything on this image, the whole emphasis on the plan B was to help the Chargers up front and the run game. That was the main objective here. Let's go ahead and substitute Will Fries with like Kevin Zeitler or, one of those dudes, Kevin Jenkins. Tyler Booker is a very attractive first-round option all of a sudden. Tate Ratledge, I know he's projected a guard, but he's been talked about at center a lot too. He's a very interesting prospect there in terms of run blocking especially. Arroyo would be an excellent receiving option for the Chargers. Maybe we miss out on one of the big names at running back, but we get away with Tootin down there. He ran one crazy, 40 time. Has some really good receiving. Upside, pairs really well with Najee Harris. It's kind of the thought process behind all of that. Kyle Juszczyk at the bottom with JJ Pegues. It all kind of fits. You know what I mean? And that's not necessarily 100% what I do because I threw that together at like 4 a.m. yesterday. But it's the idea. It's the angle that you're probably looking to take if you're the Chargers. And especially as a fan who sees what we're trying to do, we got to dramatically improve the interior 3 right away, whether it be, draft, especially free. If we can get away with it in free agency, please do that. Open ourselves up, in the draft to be more flexible. But it's basically a necessity at this point. Okay. And of course the plan right here. I really do want to get Keenan Allen back here. We're going to double check one more time, make sure that we're not missing any news before bouncing out of here, man, because the Chargers, we got a lot of work to do. The Bolts off to a slow start. I think that the redemption is possible, but there's a long road ahead to getting that, especially through the eyes of the fans. And although it may be difficult, it is not impossible. And I think, by the end of free agency, we're going to feel a lot better than we do now. But we have to be a little bit more flexible in our expectations because they're just kind of following the blueprint that they laid forth. We should kind of know what they're trying to do and the way they're going to do it and the way they're going to accomplish it. And it's not an easy thing to grip as a fan who wants big players. We want DKs. We want Adams, which I'm still very disappointed that we did not get. But again, part of the ride here. I will leave you guys with this. I definitely have not been super stoked. I was actually very angry we did not get Adams or Metcalf. I was disappointed in the Bozeman re-signing until I saw the guaranteed money. Then I feel a little bit better. I was even more disappointed that we let a lot of the top of the market interior guys, both on defense and offense, sign with other teams at contracts I felt were very fair, that the Chargers could have bested. But that being the case, and that being said, I don't think that the offseason, especially free agency, is a bust quite yet. I think Najee Harris, when you really take a look under the hood, a good running back that fits what we're trying to do, that is going to see some success this year. I promise you, we're going to see some animations on this channel supporting Najee. We're going to see some excitement, to what Najee does from the fan base. It's going to be fun. But we got to build a team around him and Justin Herbert to help their situations in creating consistent success at what the Chargers are trying to build in a run-heavy offense. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for joining me. This has been The Director. If you like what you saw here, hit us up with a like and sub on your way out. We'll see you next time. As always, bolt up, stay frosty. Let's get a wide receiver soon. Help the Chargers fans feel a little bit better, shall we?